Hey everyone, so I'm back out at the range here to do another instructional video. Today I want to talk about gun manipulation with just one hand. Yeah, we all come out and we put two hands on the gun and we shoot at the target, but how often do we train shooting with one hand, reloading with one hand, racking the slide with one hand? How are you going to handle that situation if you find yourself with a broken hand, or this hand is out of commission, or you're using this hand to protect a loved one that's in your party, and you got one hand to do everything that you need to do? Well, let's talk about it. Let's go. So in this scenario, I only have one hand available to me, my strong side hand, my shooting hand, my right hand in this case. So this hand is out of commission. Maybe it's broken, maybe, I don't know, maybe I could be an amputee. Who knows what is the situation where I can't use this hand. So I'm going to place this hand right here and attempt to do everything that I want to show you with this one hand. Something that we should train once we get more comfortable with our firearms and we get to a particular level. So I'm going to holster this firearm. I'm going to do it with one hand. I'm going to extend my thumb. My gun is up. I'm going to extend my thumb out, bring it down, pointing down, but I'm not pointing straight down because I don't want to take a chance of pointing it at that precious femoral artery that runs through my leg. I'm pointing at an angle away from my leg. I'm going to use this extended thumb to lift up my garment. Now, this is easier to do in the summertime in warm weather because I don't have a heavy coat or anything like that. And I'm going to feel my way into the holster. Now, in the wintertime, when you're dealing with a lot more cover garment, like a heavier coat, that makes that a little bit more difficult. What I would recommend is you might want to consider purchasing a tactical coat. I have one by 511. It has a zipper on the back of the coat that you can keep unzipped so that you don't have to worry about raising it up to holster the gun. You can just put the you can access your holster through the slit if it's unzipped. That's just an option. The other option is just to train as best as you can, find a way that works for you to get that gun into the holster safely without any potential for harm, for self-harm. So now my gun is holstered, I'm going about my day, and I am aggressed upon, and deadly force is necessary to get myself out of that situation. I've done everything else that we train, but I have determined that this threat is not going to stop unless, and I have to up the stakes to deadly force to get home safe to my family. But I am hampered with one hand. So how do I handle that? My training hopefully will kick in. I am going to reach for the firearm with my one hand. I am simply going to raise up my garment the way I typically would. If it's in the wintertime, you got that heavy coat, just grab it and lift the whole thing up. I'm going to access the firearm in the holster. I'm getting the grip strong on my firearm while it's in the holster, like we train under any circumstance. My grip is established once I put my hand on the gun in the holster. I now come out of the holster. I come up, just go through my regular draw stroke and fire. Now, I have another magazine, which is very good that I do because I am out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to access that other magazine. How do I do that? I'm going to come back to my workspace. I'm going to drop this magazine. Now, there are different ways to approach this at this point. This is the way that I train. I'm going to first get to cover. That's a given. Get to cover if I can. Once I'm behind cover, I'm going to place the gun in between my legs in the knee area, secure the gun there. I'm going to then reach for my spare magazine. I'm going to make sure that it is oriented properly, and I'm going to insert it into the mag well. I'm going to grab the gun again from the grip, come back up. Now I have to rack around into the chamber. This is where a good heavy duty, I prefer leather, gun belt or a tactical belt, as long as it's sturdy, comes into play. I'm going to take either my rear sights or my optical, as you see here. I'm going to place it on the belt, rack it, and I'm back in the fight. Now, another technique, rather than placing it in between your knees, is to place the gun into the holster, back into the holster. Use your thumb to find the edge of your garment, lift it up with the thumb hook, and even though the slide is locked back, place it into the holster. Now, what I tend to do is I'll use my thumb to feel the edge of the holster. I'll dip it into the hole so I have guidance to know where I'm going, and place it into the holster. I don't find that to be very easy to do. If you struggle with that, if you choose this method, you may want to use your thumb and use the slide lock as a slide release. Let the slide go forward and then place it into the holster. It's going to add more time, but I find that easier if I want to use this method to reload my firearm. I'm going to then reach for my spare magazine, insert it, rack it, and I'm back in the fight. I find it easier just to place it between my knees. There's no chance of me slipping and not getting it right into the holster, because I can see what I'm doing and it's right there in front of me. One thing we always want to do is eliminate the thought, the higher brain functions, when we're under stress against a target. So I would probably not try to place it back into the holster. I just think that adds too much time, and it's too much higher brain function has to happen with that. I'm just going to place it right between my knees and slam that magazine in, rack it against my gun belt, and I'm back into the fight. Now, what if I'm in a situation where my right hand is incapacitated and my right hand is my strong side? Well, I got to resort to my left hand. If you do carry appendix, this won't be as difficult to transition for you as long as you got training with that offhand. Me, I don't carry appendix. This is why I carry between the 4 and 5 o'clock position on my waist. I carry, I want to call it 430. Technically, that's not correct, but it's in between 4 and 5. So I carry right here on my waist. So what does that mean? Well, the only thing that's changed is my shooting hand. So same thing applies. I'm just going to use my left hand to come all the way around. Because my firearm is holstered at the 430 position, I can access it. I'm not going to be able to index the firearm out of the holster though, because of the position I'm in. So I've got 4 fingers on the grip. I'm not indexing, so I have to make sure I am trained at this. I have to be very careful even under stress, but I'm taking the gun out of the holster. Now I'm orienting my hand so that my shooting finger has access to the trigger, and I'm in the fight. Now, once I am out, I'm going to use my shooting finger to drop that magazine. Now, obviously, if I have to use my offside hand, I only have one option to get this gun back into the fight. I cannot use my holster. I can't insert it back into the holster to reload my magazine. It's got to go in between the knees, because I'm not going to be dealing with trying to get it into the holster from around my back. Once again, I'm going to place it between my legs at the knees. I want to access my second magazine into the mag well. Now I can access the firearm and index it right away. I use either my rear sights or my optic to rack the firearm. That time I racked it onto the mag pouch, and I'm back in the fight. So this is the way we have to train. We can't always train where we're coming out diligently in a two-handed grip and we're using our optic or our iron sights, because we have to be able to adapt to any situation if we want to get home to our loved ones. That means if this hand is out of commission, or this hand is out of commission. For whatever reason, I have to adapt to that situation, and I have to do it with the most minimal amount of processing as possible. That's why I prefer to go in between the knees as opposed to trying to find, under stress, this holster opening with one hand. Very important to get your one-handed training under your belt. And this is something that you should train to add to your mental toolkit, so you just have more things you can pull out of that toolkit to adapt to a situation. And then this particular situation would be this hand, one of these hands is out of commission. Okay? So that's all I got for today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I do teach this in my Stay in the Fight course. You can check my website at getfirstlevel.com, and I have a listing of all the classes that I teach, times. You can just click and register. It's as simple as that. If I don't have a class that you want to take, if I don't have one on the calendar, just give me a call, shoot me an email, and we can work that out. All right, guys, thanks so much for your time. I'll talk to you again soon.